My name is Emma, and I always believed that love could be simple if two people were kind and honest. That was my rule. Be kind, be honest, and the rest will work out. I met a man who said the same words back to me, and I let my guard down. I married him. We flew to Hawaii for our honeymoon because he said the ocean would wash every fear off my skin. On our first night there, the waves were gentle, and the room smelled like salt and new sheets. I walked to the bathroom to brush my teeth and giggle about nothing like new brides do. The door was half open. I reached out, pushed it a little, and the light hit his back. He was standing at the mirror, head down, shoulders tight.
He didn't hear me.
I took one step, then another. On the counter, I saw the hotel soap, a glass with water, and his phone face down. Then I saw it in his hand.
A ring.
Not his ring. A slender gold band with tiny diamonds like a row of stars. Inside the band, there was an engraving. To Evan, forever, Lily. My heart stopped. The room tilted. My knees hit the tile before I even knew I was falling. The sound was small, like a spoon dropping. He spun around so fast the ring slipped, bounced off the counter, and rolled into the sink. Evan looked at me. I looked at the ring. My mouth moved, but no sound came. Lily, I whispered, my throat burning. His face went pale. He froze for one long second, then reached for the faucet, as if he could wash the whole thing away. And right there, on our honeymoon, with the ocean singing outside, I learned that kindness alone cannot keep a promise safe. The ring in his hand did not belong to me. That is where the highest part of the wave crashed over my life. That is where I fell to my knees. And this is where I stopped the moment, hold it in the air like a photograph, and rewind time so you can understand how I got there and why what I saw in his hand made me fall so hard. I grew up in Ohio, surrounded by cornfields and people who remembered your name. My dad fixed trucks, and my mom worked at the library. We were not rich, but we were rich in the ways that last. My parents told me the world can be loud and quick, but kindness is slow and steady. If you can be kind, Dad said, you can walk anywhere. When he passed away, Mom wore his wedding ring on a chain. She showed me how to polish it with a soft cloth. She said, promises are heavy. Don't wear one unless you mean to carry it. I met Evan at a community 5K for a children's shelter. He was tall with a careful smile. He ran next to me for the last mile, matching my steps. When I could not breathe, he said, slow down. We finished together. After the race, he brought me a bottle of water and asked if I believed in second chances. I said yes. He said, me too. He worked in IT for a hospital system and wore clean shirts with sleeves rolled just so. He remembered my mom's birthday and brought her a stack of used mystery novels because the library budget was tight. Found them at a yard sale, he said, like it was nothing. He noticed little things. He put air in my tires. He sent me knock-knock jokes when I had a bad day. When my car battery died at midnight, he came with cables and hot chocolate. You're safe, he said, and I believed him. We dated for 18 months. We went slow. We tried to be honest. I told him about my dad and the ring on the chain. He told me he was an only child who learned young how to be alone. He said he'd never had a family that hugged first and talked later. He said he loved that about us. When he proposed in the park, it was just the two of us. No big crowd, no flash. He held my hands and said, I am not perfect, but I want to be honest. I want to be kind. I want to earn you every day. I cried and said yes. It felt like the world made sense. The week after the proposal, a small thing happened. Nothing huge, just a tiny wrinkle. We were picking up suits for his groomsmen. He stepped outside to answer a call and stayed gone longer than the call should have been. When he came back, his smile was a little stiff, like a shirt that hadn't been ironed all the way. Everything okay? I asked. He kissed my forehead. Work stuff, he said. Nothing big. I told myself to let it go. People have jobs. People get calls. Another small thing. I found a receipt in his jacket from a jewelry store across town. It was for a gold chain, not a ring, and it wasn't expensive, but it was odd. We had already picked our wedding bands. Gift for my mom, he said. Late Mother's Day. He didn't have a great relationship with her, he'd told me. Maybe this was him trying. I breathed out. That's sweet, I said. He looked at me a heartbeat too long, like he was checking if I would keep believing him. Then came a bigger thing. We were at my mom's house, and we ran into my oldest friend from childhood. Her name is Lily. She moved away after high school and came back to town just for a week to visit her aunt. When I introduced them, Evan shook her hand, and for a flash, I saw something like surprise pass across his face. Surprise, then smooth calm, like a lake after a thrown rock. It was quick, but I saw it. Lily and I spent the afternoon remembering old stories while Evan grilled burgers and made us laugh with bad puns. He was charming. He was helpful. He washed the dishes. He, and I hate saying this now, fit. That night I asked him, "Did you and Lily know each other before today?" He blinked. "No," he said. "Why?" I shrugged. "You both looked surprised." He smiled. "Everyone looks surprised meeting you. You glow." I pushed his shoulder and laughed. It was a good answer. It slid right into the place in my mind where I keep all the reasons not to worry. As the wedding got closer, the little things stacked up like coins in a jar. Nothing heavy by itself, just a clink here and a clink there. He took more calls in the other room. He started locking his phone. He said he was planning something special for me. Top secret, he grinned. No peeking. I wanted to believe. Believe first, doubt later. That was my habit because I built my life around kindness. Sometimes I forgot that kindness is strong, but it should not be blind. 2 days before the wedding, my mom hugged me in the kitchen. The house smelled like cinnamon and new paint because she had scrubbed every baseboard twice. Your father would be happy, she whispered. You choose a man who takes care. I hugged her back, hard, and felt the chain with Dad's ring between us. I said a small prayer that the man I chose would stay true. Our wedding was simple and bright. It was in a small church with white flowers and a short aisle because I get nervous when many eyes are on me. The pastor told a story about kindness being a house we build with our hands every day. Evan leaned close and said, "Our house will be strong." When he slid the ring on my finger, his hands shook so much that we both laughed. I thought it was sweet nerves. I kissed him and thought, we did it. We will be okay. Our first night on the island felt like a postcard. We ate grilled fish by the water and shared a small pineapple cake with a sparkler in it. The waitress took our photo and said, "May you find the good in every day." Evan held my waist and looked at me like I was something he found and promised to keep safe. Back in the room, he said he needed to freshen up. I said I'd join him. He said, "Give me a minute." He laughed, light as confetti. "I want to set up something." I teased him. "Secret again?" He winked and closed the bathroom door. I sat on the bed and ran my finger around my wedding band. I thought about calling my mom to say we made it, but it was late back in Ohio. The ocean hummed through the balcony. A soft yellow lamp glowed by the chair. Everything was warm and easy, so easy I almost forgot the jar of little clinks inside me. Then I heard a small sound. Metal on porcelain. As if a coin had rolled on a plate. I stood, crossed the carpet, and pushed the door. And there it was. His hand, the ring, the engraving that did not belong to me. To Evan, forever, Lily. When I said her name, my voice sounded like it had been carried a long way. He looked like he wanted to turn the world off and on again and fix whatever glitch was showing. He reached for the faucet. The ring trembled by the drain, a moon about to fall into a dark mouth. I crawled forward on my knees because my legs did not want to stand. I pressed my hands on the cold tile and looked at him, at the ring, at the mirror where my face did not look like mine anymore. "What is this?" I asked, but I already knew the shape of the answer. Not the details, not the whole map, just the shape, the way you know a storm is coming when the wind changes. "Emma," he said. "Please." He stepped back like I was the one holding a weapon. I picked up the ring before it could fall. I turned it in my palm. It felt heavier than such a small thing should feel. "Why do you have this?" I asked. "Why Lily?" My voice broke on her name. He opened his mouth. He closed it. He rubbed his face like he wanted to erase it and draw a new one. "It's not," he stopped. He swallowed. It's not what you think. That line is the oldest lie in the world. People say it when it is exactly what you think. I stood up, slower than the tide. I could see my reflection next to his. I looked like a ghost. He looked like a man whose stories were collapsing. I wasn't going to scream because screaming is loud and fast, and I wanted to be slow and clear. I put the ring on the counter between us. We will talk, I said. But I need truth. All of it. Now. He shook his head once, like a stubborn child. Can we just enjoy tonight? He asked, and the words hit me like a slap.
Enjoy.
Tonight. As if what I saw could be folded and put away like a shirt. Who is Lily to you? I asked. He stared at the mirror behind me. I can explain, he said. Please don't judge me yet. I thought of my mother, my father's ring on the chain, the words about carrying promises. I thought of Lily's surprised face in my mom's backyard. I thought of the jewelry receipt. I thought of all the small coins stacking. I took a breath, so deep it hurt my ribs. Explain, I said. He opened his mouth. And that is when the hotel phone rang. It was a loud, old-fashioned ring, the kind you hear in movies. It cut through the air and made both of us jump. He glanced at the door, then at the phone. He looked caged. Don't, I said when he reached for it. He froze. The phone kept ringing, steady as a heartbeat. Finally, I picked it up. Hello. A calm woman's voice said, Mrs. Carter? This is the front desk. We have an envelope for you. It was dropped off by a guest who said you should receive it tonight. Do you want us to send it up? I looked at Evan. He had moved closer to the door, as if he was measuring the distance. What's the name on the envelope? I asked, though my hands already knew the answer from the way they shook. It's addressed to Emma Carter, the woman said, and then she paused, as if reading something else on the front. There's a note. It says, You deserve the truth.
L.
My chest went cold, like someone opened a freezer inside me. Yes, I said. Send it up. I hung up the phone. The room was suddenly so quiet I could hear the little fizz of the bathroom light. Evan tried to smile. It died on his face. Whatever that is, he said, it's fake. People want to hurt us. This is someone's game. I looked at the ring on the counter. I looked at the man I married. I thought about the promise I made to myself to be kind and honest. Kindness matters, I told myself. But kindness is not the same as letting someone walk you to a cliff with your eyes closed. I wiped my face with the back of my hand and stood taller. We'll see, I said. We waited. He kept shifting his weight. I kept my eyes on the door. 2 minutes, 5, 7. My phone buzzed once, a text from an unknown number, a location pin, and a short message. Check the timestamp. I am so sorry. I didn't open it.
Not yet.
There was a knock. I walked to the door and opened it a crack. A bellman stood there with a small cream envelope on a silver tray. He had kind eyes. He looked like he wished this was a different delivery. For you, ma'am, he said softly. Thank you, I whispered. My hand trembled when I took it. He gave a tiny nod and left. I shut the door. Evan stood a step back, like the envelope was a live wire. Emma, he said, and there was a plea in his voice that almost made me remember the cables and hot chocolate and all the good he had shown me. Almost. I broke the seal. Inside were photographs, printed on glossy paper. The first one made my breath claw at my throat. It was Evan and Lily. They were standing in front of a small courthouse 2 towns over, holding hands. She was in a white sundress. He was in a blue shirt. The date in the corner was 1 week before our wedding. There was another photo, and another, and another. My knees did not fold this time. I did not fall. I stood because I had to. My hands were steady now. There is a strength that comes when the truth is finally loud enough to drown the lies. I lifted my eyes from the pictures and met his. Who are you, Evan? Asked, and my voice was very calm. His mouth opened and closed like a fish pulled from the water. It's not, he started. Then he stopped lying for a second, and I saw the man beneath the careful smile. I can fix this, he said. And then, like the universe wanted to make sure I did not have room to breathe, The room phone rang again. This time, I didn't touch it. Evan did. He grabbed the receiver like a lifeline. "Hello," he said, his voice tight. A pause. His face went slack. Color drained from him. He looked at me with eyes I did not recognize. He held the phone out to me with a shaking hand. His voice cracked. "It's for you." I took the receiver. "Hello." The same calm woman from the front desk spoke, but her tone had changed. It was careful now, like she was stepping around broken glass. "Mrs. Carter, the guest who left the envelope asked me to pass on one more message if you called back. She said you would know her by name." The woman took a tiny breath. She said, "Tell Emma that he promised me forever first." The line clicked. The dial tone hummed. I hung up. I looked down at the photos, at the ring on the counter, at the man who said we would build a strong house. Another knock sounded at the door, 3 slow knocks, then silence. I turned the handle. On the floor in the hallway lay a small black velvet box. No note this time. Just the box. I picked it up. My fingers were steady. I opened it. Inside, on a cushion of dark foam, sat a second gold band, the twin of mine, with the same engraving inside that burned my eyes when I read it the first time. "To Evan, forever, Lily." Behind me, I heard Evan whisper, "Please, Emma." I lifted my head, and in that moment, something in me shifted. The part of me that only believed in soft answers stood aside, and the part that believed in truth stepped forward. This was no longer just about a surprise in a bathroom. This was about vows and patterns, and a man who wanted to be the center of 2 worlds at once. It was about kindness that refuses to be used as a leash. I set the second ring beside the first, closed the velvet box, and turned toward him. "Sit down," I said, and my voice did not shake. "We're going to talk." The ocean kept singing outside, steady and endless. The lamp threw a small circle of light on the carpet. He sat. I sat across from him, with the rings between us like tiny suns. And then, before a single word could leave his mouth, my phone on the nightstand lit up again and began to ring with a name that made my heart twist. "Lily." I reached for it. The phone buzzed in my hand, the name on the screen glowing like fire. "Lily." My chest tightened. Evan stared at the screen too, his eyes wide, his lips parted like he wanted to scream but couldn't. The phone kept vibrating, buzzing against my palm, and every second felt like a drumbeat in my skull. I didn't answer right away. I just held it there, looking at the name, listening to the silence between us. He finally broke it. "Emma, don't," he said, his voice cracking.
Please.
"Whatever she says, it's not what you think." The same words again. "Not what I think." I looked at him, and I swear in that moment I saw 2 versions of him. One was the man who brought me hot chocolate in the middle of the night, who filled my gas tank without asking, who kissed me so gently the world blurred. The other was the man standing in front of me now, sweating, shaking, and hiding behind lies. The phone buzzed again. I swiped to answer. "Hello." My voice was ice. There was a pause, and then her voice came, soft, nervous. "Emma, it's me. Please don't hang up. I know this is the worst way for you to find out, but I couldn't let him keep lying to you." My knees almost buckled again, but I stayed standing. "Find out what?" I asked, my voice sharp. Behind me, Evan muttered, "Lily, stop." "No," she said firmly. "You don't get to control this anymore." My hand trembled, but I gripped the phone tighter. Tell me now." Her breath hitched on the other end. "He married me, Emma." "Evan married me first." The words hit me like a hurricane. The room spun, and I had to sit down on the edge of the bed before I collapsed. My ears roared with the sound of my own pulse. "He what?" I whispered. "He married me," Lily repeated, voice breaking. "Last week. At the courthouse. He told me it was a small ceremony, just for us, until he could plan something bigger. He said I was his forever. He gave me a ring, the same one you found. And then, days later, I saw the announcement online. The pictures. The wedding with you." Her voice cracked. I didn't believe it at first. I thought it was fake. But when I realized it was real, I had to tell you. I couldn't let him play both of us. I pressed my free hand to my forehead. My skin was clammy. You're lying, I whispered, but even as I said it, I knew she wasn't. The photos, the engraving, the envelope, the timing, it all matched. I wish I was, she said softly. I didn't even know you were friends with him until that day at your mom's. He told me you were just some girl from his past. He said you didn't matter. My heart twisted like a knife had been shoved into it and turned. Emma, listen to me, she said. I don't blame you. I blame him. He lied to both of us. He played both of us. But I have proof. More than the photos. Messages. Receipts. Everything. You deserve to see them. My voice came out like a whisper.
Why now?
Why send this to me on my honeymoon? Because I thought he would come clean, Lily said. I begged him to tell you before the wedding. He promised he would. And when he didn't, I realized he never would. I shut my eyes. The room swayed. My hand shook so badly, I almost dropped the phone. Emma, Lily whispered, her voice full of pity. I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve this. Neither of us did. I couldn't speak. My throat was locked. So I hung up. The silence in the room afterward was worse than her voice. I set the phone down slowly on the nightstand. Evan stood a few feet away, pale, shaking, his hands half raised like he was reaching for me, but too scared to touch.
Emma, he said.
Just my name. Like it was enough. Like it could undo everything. I stood up. You married her. My voice shook, but it wasn't weak. You married her, and then you married me. It's not. Stop saying that, I screamed, finally letting the storm inside me break. Stop saying it's not what I think. It is exactly what I think. His mouth opened and closed. His eyes shone with something, fear, shame, maybe even love twisted into something ugly. I can explain, he whispered again. And that was when my knees didn't give out. My heart didn't break. Something inside me hardened instead. I looked him dead in the eye. Then explain. He swallowed. His jaw tightened. And then, with a shaky breath, he said the words that made my blood run cold. Because I needed both of you. The room went silent again, the weight of those words crushing the air out of me. And that's where this chapter ends, with the truth halfway out of his mouth, the man I thought I knew unraveling before my eyes, and me realizing that the storm had only just begun. Because I needed both of you. Those words rang in my ears like church bells tolling doom. I stared at him, every nerve in my body screaming for clarity, for some reason that would make sense. But there was no reason. None that could make this right. You needed us? My voice was sharp, trembling with both fury and disbelief. What does that even mean, Evan? He ran his hands over his face, pacing like a trapped animal. Emma, listen, please.
You don't understand.
I love you. I do. But Lily, his voice cracked. She's been in my life longer. I couldn't let her go. Longer? I shot back. So what? You were stringing her along before you even met me? Or did you propose to her after me? His silence was the answer I dreaded. My chest heaved, rage boiling inside me. You looked my mother in the eyes. You promised me forever. You slid that ring on my finger while hers was still warm from your hand. He flinched, his eyes desperate. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. I thought I could fix it. I thought I could make it work for everyone. I let out a bitter laugh that sounded more like a sob. Fix it? By marrying two women at the same time? Do you hear how insane that sounds? His face twisted, shame mingling with stubbornness. I didn't want to lose either of you. You both give me something I need. With you, Emma, I feel safe. Like I have a family, like I'm home. With Lily, his voice faltered. She makes me feel alive. I froze. The knife in my chest twisted deeper. So, I'm the safety net, I whispered. And she's the spark. Is that it? He reached toward me. No, you're more than that. You're everything. Please don't make me choose. I stepped back, my stomach churning. Don't make you choose? Evan, you already chose. You chose to betray me. You chose to betray her. And you did it with the same vows, the same promises, the same lies. His eyes glistened. I thought I could balance it. I thought. You thought wrong, I snapped. The photos still lay scattered on the bed. The rings gleamed coldly on the counter. My father's voice echoed in my head. Promises are heavy. Don't wear one unless you mean to carry it. I rose to my full height, my hands shaking but steady enough to point at the door. Get out. He blinked. Emma, please. Don't.
Get out.
His jaw worked as if he wanted to fight back, but something in my face must have told him not to. He grabbed his jacket and moved toward the door, his step slow, reluctant. Before he left, he turned to me, his eyes hollow. I didn't want to hurt you, he whispered.
Then you shouldn't have lied, I said.
My voice was like steel. The door clicked shut behind him. I sat on the edge of the bed, the silence pressing down on me. My whole body shook as I picked up one of the photographs again. His hand in hers. His smile.
The date.
The proof. My heart broke all over again. Tears ran hot down my face, and I buried my head in my hands. For the first time since the bathroom, the anger gave way to grief. My chest heaved, sobs racking through me, until I thought I might split open. I thought of my mom, how proud she looked when she said I had chosen well. I thought of my dad's ring around her neck. I thought of Lily, probably crying in some hotel room herself, wondering how she had ended up here too. The man I loved, the man I trusted, had betrayed us both. I cried until the tears ran dry. Then I sat in silence, staring at the floor, my mind blank. The storm inside me slowed to a quiet, dangerous calm. And then, a sharp knock rattled the door. 3 quick bangs, urgent. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. Mrs. Carter? A man's voice called from the hallway. It's hotel security. We need to speak with you immediately. My heart pounded. Why would hotel security be at my door at this hour? I rose slowly, wiped my face, and stepped toward the door. My hand hovered over the handle. Something in my gut twisted with unease. I opened it a crack. 2 uniformed men stood there, serious-faced. One of them held a clipboard. Ma'am, he said, his voice flat, we received a report. Your husband has just been escorted off the property after a disturbance in the lobby. He claimed he needed to get back into this room. Do you want us to allow him access? The air left my lungs in a rush. My hands gripped the doorframe to stay steady. And just as I opened my mouth to answer, one of the men added quietly, There's something else. He wasn't alone. There's something else. He wasn't alone. The words froze me in place. My fingers tightened around the doorframe until they ached. What do you mean, he wasn't alone? My voice came out hoarse. The taller guard glanced at his clipboard, then back at me. The woman with him identified herself as his wife. For a second, I thought my knees would give way again, but the fury inside me kept me upright. Wife. The word tore through me like glass. Did she give a name? I asked, though I already knew. The shorter guard nodded. Yes, ma'am. She said her name was Lily. I closed my eyes, the confirmation slicing deep. It wasn't just photographs or a phone call or whispers on a line. It was flesh and blood truth, standing right there in the lobby with him. Would you like us to remove them from the premises? The tall guard asked. I hesitated. My whole body trembled. Remove them. Push them out of my sight. God, part of me wanted that more than anything. But another part of me, the part my father raised, the part that hated lies, needed answers. Needed to look them both in the eyes. No, I said finally, my voice steady in a way that surprised even me. Tell them to wait. I'll come down. The guards exchanged a look, then nodded. We'll escort you, ma'am. I dressed quickly, hands shaking as I pulled on jeans and a hoodie over my nightshirt. The ring still lay on the counter, gleaming in the dim light like cursed relics. I left them there. Let them rot. The elevator ride felt endless. My heart hammered against my ribs, each beat screaming, what now?
What now?
The guards flanked me silently. When the door slid open, the lobby was quiet, but all eyes turned to me as I stepped out. And there they were. Evan stood by the seating area, pale and restless, his hands twisting together. Beside him sat Lily. She wore the same sundress from the photo, her hair pulled back, her face blotchy from crying. When she looked up and saw me, she stood immediately. "Emma," she whispered, her voice breaking. The room tilted. I forced myself forward, step by step, until I stood a few feet from them. "Both of you," I said, my voice sharp as glass.
Sit down. Now.
They obeyed. For once, Evan didn't argue. I stayed standing, my hands on the back of a chair, my body thrumming with a strange, cold power. "Start talking," I said. My eyes locked on Evan. From the beginning. Every detail. Every lie. Right here, right now. He swallowed hard, glancing at Lily. She wouldn't look at him. Her eyes were fixed on me, shimmering with apology. Finally, Evan spoke. "It wasn't supposed to happen this way," he began, his voice low. "I met Lily 2 years before I met you. We were on and off. She wanted marriage. I wasn't ready. Then I met you, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I could breathe, like I could have a family, something stable, something real." I clenched my jaw. "So your answer was to marry both of us?" He winced. "No, I mean yes, but I didn't plan it that way. I thought I could make it work until I figured out what I really wanted." "Make it work?" Lily's voice cracked. "You told me you wanted me forever. You looked me in the eyes at that courthouse and promised me I was the only one." Evan's face twisted. "And I meant it. But then, Emma, don't you dare blame me." I cut in, my voice shaking with fury. "Don't you dare put this on me." He fell silent. I turned to Lily. "Why did you marry him? Did you know about me?" Her lips trembled.
No.
"Not until after. He told me you were a friend from his past. He swore it was over. But when I saw your wedding photos online, I knew. And I couldn't," her voice broke. "I couldn't let him do this to you too." Tears blurred my vision, but I blinked them away. I would not cry in front of him again. "So here we are," I said, my voice flat. "2 women, 1 man, and a mountain of lies." The silence stretched. Every eye in the lobby was on us, the weight of strangers' stares pressing down. Finally, I spoke again. "You know what, Evan? You don't get to choose anymore. You don't get to fix this. You don't get to stand here and spin another story." I pulled my wedding band off my finger. My hand shook, but I forced myself to hold it up. "You gave me this," I said. "And you gave her the same promise. But you forgot something. Promises are heavy, and you're too weak to carry even one." I dropped the ring onto the table between us. It clinked against the wood, sharp and final. Lily looked at me with tears in her eyes. "Emma." But before she could finish, Evan suddenly stood, his chair scraping against the floor. His face was pale, desperate. "You can hate me all you want," he said, his voice rising. "But you don't know everything. There's more, things neither of you understand. If I don't fix this, all of us are in danger." The entire lobby went still. Lily and I both froze. "Danger?" I echoed. "What are you talking about?" Evan's eyes darted around the room, as if he expected someone to leap out of the shadows. His chest heaved. And then, just as I stepped forward to demand answers, the glass doors of the hotel swung open, and a man in a dark suit walked in. Evan's face drained of all color. "Oh God," he whispered. "It's too late." The man in the dark suit strode into the lobby with the confidence of someone who owned every room he entered. His eyes swept over the crowd until they landed on Evan. A thin smile curved his lips, but it wasn't warm. It was sharp, calculated. Evan stumbled back a step, his voice trembling. No, you can't be here." The man adjusted his cufflinks casually, then spoke in a low voice that carried across the silent lobby. "I told you, Evan. You can't run forever." My stomach tightened. Lily's hand flew to her mouth. Every hair on my body stood on end. "Who is he?" I demanded, looking between them. Evan's throat worked as he swallowed hard. He's nobody. Emma, please, just go back upstairs." The man chuckled. Nobody? After everything we've done together. He stepped closer, his gaze flicking to me, then to Lily.
Ah.
These must be your wives. Both of them. His smirk widened. Bold, even for you. The lobby gasped collectively. My pulse hammered. What's going on, Evan? I pressed. Tell me now. Evan's hands shook. Emma, Lily, you don't understand. He's dangerous. Dangerous? The man interrupted smoothly. I'm not the one who made vows to two women in the same week. You did that all on your own. Evan's face crumpled with shame. He reached toward me, but I stepped back. I wasn't going to let him touch me. Not anymore. Answer me, Evan. My voice cracked. Who is this man? Finally, Evan's shoulders slumped. His voice was barely a whisper. His name is Victor. He lent me money. A lot of it. Victor's smile widened. Not just money. Opportunities.
Jobs.
Connections. Let's not downplay our arrangement. I blinked, my stomach dropping. Money? What money? Evan raked a hand through his hair, his eyes wild. I was in debt before I met you. I borrowed from him to start over, to look stable, to be the man you deserved. But it wasn't enough. He kept pushing and I kept owing. And then his voice cracked. And then I thought if I married Lily, I'd have her inheritance. And if I married you, I'd have the stability, the family, the life I wanted. The world tilted again. So we were your solutions, I said bitterly. Not your loves. Not your partners. Just your safety nets. Lily let out a sob. Victor clapped slowly, the sound echoing through the lobby. And there it is. The truth. You thought you could juggle it all, Evan. 2 women, 2 lives, and my money.
But now?
The game's over. Evan shook his head frantically. No. I just need more time. I can fix this. I can. Victor's smile vanished, his eyes turning cold. Time's up. The room seemed to shrink. My hands clenched into fists, my mind racing. I wanted to scream, to collapse, to run, but instead I stood tall, my voice cutting through the tension. Whatever deal you made, Evan, it's your mess. Not mine. Not Lily's. We are done being pawns in your lies. Victor looked at me with mild surprise, then chuckled. You've got spirit, Mrs. Carter. I like that. He leaned closer, his voice dropping so only we could hear. But spirit won't protect you from what's coming. My heart pounded. What do you mean? He straightened, eyes glinting. Let's just say Evan owes me more than money. And debts have a way of spreading. Before I could respond, he slipped a card onto the table in front of me. Black, with only a single number printed in silver ink. Call me when you realize the truth goes deeper than his betrayal, Victor said smoothly. Because, trust me, this is only the beginning. With that, he turned and walked out of the hotel, leaving silence and dread in his wake. I stared at the card, my breath shallow. Lily trembled beside me, her face pale. Evan sat hunched over, his head in his hands. The truth had cracked wide open, but now a new storm was rising, darker and more dangerous than I ever imagined. And as I stood there, with the weight of 2 rings, 2 vows, and 1 looming threat pressing down on me, I realized my revenge wouldn't just be against Evan. It would be against all of them. The card lay on the table like a snake, coiled and waiting. The black surface caught the lobby's dim light, the silver number gleaming like a dare. I didn't touch it. Not yet. Lily's breathing was shaky, but her voice cut through the silence. Emma, we need to leave. Right now. I turned to her. Her face was pale, streaked with tears, but her eyes, those same eyes that once held childhood laughter in my mom's backyard, were fierce now. She wasn't asking. She was warning. Evan lifted his head, his voice desperate.
No, don't.
If you leave, he'll come after you too. I spun on him. He already has, Evan. You dragged us into this the second you decided to build your fantasy life on lies. I was trying to protect you, he snapped, his voice breaking. I laughed bitterly. Protect me? You call this protection? Marrying 2 women, lying to both of us, Indebting yourself to some criminal in a suit? That's not protection, Evan. That's destruction. His mouth opened and closed, no words coming out. I turned back to Lily.
Come on.
We're done here. We walked past him, the two of us side by side. For the first time, it felt like we were on the same team, not rivals, not victims, but women holding each other up through the wreckage of one man's deceit. As the elevator doors closed, Lily whispered, I hate him for what he did to us. But, Emma, I think we need each other now. If Victor is who I think he is, we're in danger too. I frowned. You know him? She nodded slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. I've heard of him. My uncle, he used to gamble. Got into debt. Victor was the man who came to collect. He doesn't just lend money, Emma. He owns people. The elevator hummed upward. My stomach twisted into knots. So, this isn't just about betrayal anymore. It's about survival. Yes, she said grimly. We reached the room. I shut the door behind us and leaned against it, my chest heaving. The ocean outside roared like it knew our secret. For a long moment, we just stood there in silence. Then Lily spoke again. Emma, I need to show you something. She dug into her purse and pulled out a small flash drive. I didn't just bring photos. I saved everything. His messages, his calls, even his bank transfers. I knew if I confronted him, he'd deny it. So I kept proof. I stared at it, my heart pounding. Why didn't you give this to me earlier? Because I wasn't sure you'd believe me, she admitted. But after tonight, you need to see it. She handed it to me, her hand trembling. I took it, the weight of it heavier than it should have been. I plugged it into Evan's laptop, the one he insisted on bringing even on our honeymoon. Folders popped up on the screen, hundreds of screenshots, call logs, documents. And then the messages. Don't worry, Lily. Once I get Emma's family's trust, everything will be set. Victor wants results. I need you to stay quiet until the timing is right. If Emma suspects, it's over. We can't let that happen. My stomach lurched. Each word was another knife, twisting deeper. Lily covered her face with her hands. I wanted to throw up the first time I read them. Tears blurred my vision, but beneath the grief, a new fire burned. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a plan. A scheme. He hadn't stumbled into this. He had built it, step by step, using us as pawns. I slammed the laptop shut. No more. My voice was steady, cold. He thinks he's clever. He thinks he can use us. But he's wrong. Lily looked at me, her eyes wide. What are you saying? I'm saying, I said slowly, that if he and Victor want to play games, we'll play too. Only we'll play smarter. A silence stretched between us. Then, slowly, a small, grim smile spread across Lily's face. Revenge. Not just revenge, I said. Justice. Before we could say more, a sound echoed from the hallway, footsteps, heavy and deliberate, stopping right outside our door. We froze. Then, a low voice slipped through the crack under the door. Ladies, we need to talk. I knew that voice. Victor. The handle rattled once. My breath caught in my throat. Lily's eyes locked on mine, fear and determination tangled together. And that's where this chapter ends. Two betrayed women, trapped in a hotel room, a flash drive of secrets on the table, and the devil himself standing on the other side of the door. The rattling of the handle sent chills racing down my spine. Victor's voice was smooth, unhurried, like a snake sliding closer to its prey. Ladies, open the door. We need to talk. Lily's hand gripped mine so tightly it hurt. Her lips trembled, but her eyes were set. I whispered, don't panic. We can't let him see fear. Victor knocked once, hard. If you don't open this door, I will. I glanced at the flash drive still plugged into Evan's laptop.
Proof.
Power. For the first time, I realized we had something Victor might not want exposed. I yanked it free and shoved it into my pocket. Emma, Lily hissed. What do we do? The footsteps outside shifted, heavier now. I took a deep breath, my father's words echoing in my mind. Promises are heavy. Don't wear one unless you mean to carry it. Evan hadn't carried his. But I could carry something else, truth. And truth was heavier than any ring. I motioned for Lily to stay quiet, then spoke loudly enough for Victor to hear. Walk away, Victor. You can't bully us. We have everything. Messages. Transfers. Enough proof to bury both of you. A silence followed, sharp as glass. Then Victor chuckled low. Clever girl. But proof is only useful if you live long enough to use it. Lily's breath hitched beside me. Suddenly, a new voice broke through the tension. She's not bluffing, Victor. Evan. We both spun toward the window, where Evan was climbing in from the balcony, his shirt torn, his face wild. He must have scaled across from another room. Lily gasped. What are you doing here? He stumbled forward, panting. I couldn't let him hurt you. Either of you. Please. I messed up, I know, but you don't understand what he's capable of. My fury boiled. We understand plenty. You made this mess. You brought him into our lives. You don't get to play the hero now. He shook his head frantically. You don't get it. He's not just after money anymore. He wants control. He'll use you both as leverage to keep me in line. Please, Emma, Lily, you have to trust me this once. A loud crash at the door cut him off. Victor was done waiting. The lock groaned, metal straining. Evan's eyes went wide. Give me the drive, he hissed. If he gets it, we're finished. I stepped back, clutching it tighter. You're not getting this. Not after everything. The door burst open. Victor strode in, two of his men behind him. His eyes flicked over the scene. Evan sweating by the window, Lily trembling near the bed, me standing firm with my hand in my pocket. Well, Victor said smoothly. Looks like family night. No one moved. No one breathed. Then, in one motion, I pulled the flash drive from my pocket and held it up. You want this? It's already backed up. If anything happens to me or her, it goes public. Every message, every transaction, every dirty deal. Victor's eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. I met his gaze steadily. Try me. For the first time, his calm cracked. Just a flicker. But I saw it. He turned slowly to Evan. You brought me a problem. Evan's voice shook. I can fix it. You had your chance. Victor snapped his fingers. His men grabbed Evan by the arms. Evan struggled, his eyes wild. Emma, please, don't let them. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just watched as the man who betrayed me and Lily, the man who promised forever to two women and gave us nothing but lies, was dragged out of the room. Lily's hand slipped into mine. She was shaking, but her grip was steady. Victor paused at the door. This isn't over. You've made yourself an enemy. I lifted my chin. No. You've made yourself a file. And files don't go away. His smile was thin, cold. Then he left, his men hauling Evan like a rag doll. The silence that followed was deafening. Lily let out a shaky breath, tears spilling down her cheeks. Emma, what now? I looked down at the flash drive in my hand, at the proof of every betrayal, every scheme, every lie. Now, I said slowly. Now we burn them both down. And as the waves crashed against the shore outside, I felt the weight of revenge settle over me. Not bitter, not broken, but sharp and clear. This wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of justice. For me. For Lily. For every promise too heavy for a liar to carry.